peace up with us, and us with him as we read out of this great legacy. The greatest love story ever told, more valuable than silver and gold. Many are called, but few are chose. Yahweh willing, we make it home. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. About the gospel and the epistles and all the letters in the New Testament. This the new covenant congregation of Israel. We authenticator, seeking out the lost sheep of the house of Yehudah, singing praises to Yahweh and his son Yeshua. Now all the men of Israel rise on up. When we say the commandments, look mama, no fringes. His mercy endures forever. Blessed to see another Sabbath, the Sabbath day of the week, where all his saints gather. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Lead the world out there. Sisters, cover your hair. Brothers, gird your loin. Deacon, blow the ram's horn. Now sit back and listen. What the Spirit saying to the churches. Keep his commandments, law, statutes, and judgments. Deuteronomy chapter. Beyond the surface. Beyond the surface. Beyond the surface. Beyond the surface. The prince of this wicked world, the god of confusion. Got black folk experiencing strong delusions. Got ears that can't hear, mouths that won't speak, eyes that can't see that this curse is so deep. Deaf, dumb, and blind, don't make the sin slash crime repent. Oh, Israel, we're running out of precious time in the land where they saying God's when it's dead. And you wondering why the innocent blood is shed. That's cause Satan's in the earth, he's walking to and fro, doing what he's told, being his status quo. Tempted man with pleasure and wickedness, denying the master, saying don't keep his commandments. Our wisdom and our knowledge in the sight of nations, but you love earthly riches than salvation. That means get safety from tribulation and wrath. The broad way leads to death, and narrow is the path. Preach the gospel, spread the good news. The son of Elohim, Yeshua, king of the Jews, not king of the Christians. That's in they do Christ like. They criminals of Yahweh, outlaws in his sight. Same-sex marriage is okay with the president. That old serpent, the devil, is controlling the government. No prayer in the school system, no truth in the black churches. That's food in our neighborhoods, children killing with no mercy. Look beyond the surface and show yourself approved. Do your own research, seek the spirit of truth. Beyond the surface. Beyond the surface. Beyond the surface.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to the Beyond the Surface program. My name is Yosef ben Israel, and I'm the elder priest of the Cultural Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel. We're located at 3901A Covenant Highway, Indicator, Georgia, 30032. Our phone number is 404-286-5869. The website is www.thencci.org. Again, welcome to the Beyond the Surface program. Today's topic is, whatever happened to the Greek and Roman gods? Let me repeat that. Whatever happened to the Greek and Roman gods? History shows that the ancient Greeks and Romans worshiped many gods. It is called polytheism, as opposed to monotheism, which is the worship of one God. The Greeks and the Romans often worshiped the same gods and goddesses, just with different names, such as Zeus is the supreme god of the Greeks, and Jupiter is the supreme god of the Romans, the same god. The Greek god Ares is the god of war, and the Roman god Mars is the god of war. Artemis is Greek, and Diana is Roman. Poseidon is Greek, and Neptune is Roman. Hermes is Greek, and Mercury is Roman. White people in America are descended from the Greeks and the Romans, and although they call themselves Christians now, they are still polytheists. But according to the Bible, the children of Israel, or the Jews, which is just short for Judah, one of the 12 tribes of Israel, have never been polytheistic. They have always been monotheistic. They were the only people on earth that worshiped just one God. Everyone else worshiped many gods. But it seems as though the only people on earth that worship only one God, the children of Israel, have disappeared. The Christians and the Muslims never talk about the children of Israel. But according to the Bible, they are still here. But it is a known fact that Christians and Muslims never read the Bible because they do not know how. Nevertheless, the children of Israel are still here, and they still worship one God. Christians and Muslims believe that God cast the children of Israel away. Well, let's see if the Bible agrees with that. Let's go to Isaiah 41, verse 8 and 9. Isaiah 41, verse 8 and 9. But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. Thou, whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, Thou art my servant, I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away. That's in the Bible. Let's continue. Well, you will say, well, that's that Old Testament. That don't mean nothing to Christians no more. Well, it never meant anything to you in the first place. But let's go into the part of the book that y'all Christians say is your part of the book, the epistles. Let's go to Romans chapter 11, verse 1 to verse 5. Romans chapter 11, verse 1 to verse 5. Now this is Paul's letter to the Romans that believe in the Messiah. I say then, hath Elohim cast away his people? Elohim forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. Well, why didn't he say he was a Christian? Let me read what he said again. I say then, hath Elohim cast away his people? Elohim forbid, for I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. Elohim hath not cast away his people, which ye full knew. Know you not what the scripture says of Elijah, how he maketh intercession to Elohim against Israel, saying, Yahweh, they have killed thy prophets and did down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of Elohim unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Even so then, at this present time also, there is a remnant according to the election of grace. So Paul said he hadn't cast his people away. So you Christians and Muslims will operate on false premises. Let's go to one more place. Let's go to Jeremiah 31, verse 35 to verse 37. Jeremiah 31, verse 35 to verse 37. Thus saith Yahweh, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves are uproar. Yahweh of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus saith Yahweh, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith Yahweh. Where'd you get the idea that Yahweh cast away the children of Israel? Where did that come from? So let's understand something. You got to consider who wrote the Bible. Nobody asked that question. Who actually wrote the Bible? If you say Christian wrote the Bible, well, there's a lot of things written in the Bible that doesn't pertain to Christians. As a matter of fact, nothing in the Bible pertains to Christians. But see, you have to actually read it and not listen to those pulpit pimps putting on a show for you. You actually have to read the Bible. Now, if you don't know how to read the Bible, come by and we'll show you how. Christians are no different than their polytheistic forefathers, the Greeks and the Romans. Let's prove that. Let's go to Acts 14, verse 8 through 16. Acts 14, verse 8 to verse 16. And there sat a certain man at Lystra, impotent in his feet, being a cripple from the mother's womb, who never had walked. The same heard Paul speak, who steadfastly beholding him, and perceiving that he had faith to be healed, said with a loud voice, Stand upright on thy feet. And he leaped and walked. And when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of Lycaonia, the gods have come down to us in the likeness of men. They called Barnabas Jupiter, and Paul Mercurius, because he was the chief speaker. Now remember now, Jupiter is the Roman chief god of the Romans, and Mercurius is also, it's called Mercury, is a Greek god of the Romans. Then the priests of Jupiter, which was before their city, brought oxen and garlands unto the gates, and would have done sacrifice with the people, which when the apostles Barnabas and Paul heard of, they rent their clothes and ran in among the people, crying out and saying, Sirs, why do you these things? We also are men of like passions with you, and preach unto you that you should turn from these vanities unto the living Elohim, which made heaven and earth and the sea and all things that are therein, who in time past suffered all nations to walk in their own ways. So even back in these days, the Gentile was still worshiping the Roman gods. Let's continue. Let's go to Acts 17, verse 22 to verse 29. Acts 17, verse 22 to verse 29. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, You men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are too superstitious. For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, I found an altar with this inscription, to the unknown God, whom therefore you ignorantly worship, him declare I unto you. Elohim that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is master of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands, neither is worship with men's hands, as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things, and have made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and have determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation, that they should seek Yahweh, if haply they might feel after him, and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your own porch have said, for we are also his offspring. For as much then as we are the offspring of Elohim, we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone graven by the art of man's device. They were still worshiping idols down back in those days in Athens. So he was telling them, this is not a God here that you can fashion out of gold or silver. Let's continue. Let's go to Acts 19, verse 23 to verse 28. Acts 19, verse 23 to verse 28. And the same time there arose a no small stir about that way. For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, brought no small gain unto the craftsmen, whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation, and said, Sirs, you know that by this craft we have our wealth. Moreover, you see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul had persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods which are made with hands, so that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worshipeth. And when they heard these sayings, they were full of wrath and cried out, saying, Great is Diana of the Ephesians. And the whole city was filled with confusion. And having caught Gaius and Aristarchus, men of Macedonia, Paul's companions, they rushed with one accord to the theater. So again, we're looking at Romans here. They're still worshiping their gods, and they still have those idols. They still got them today, don't they? Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 4 to verse 6. 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 4 to verse 6. As concerning, therefore, the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and there is none other Elohim but one. For though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and masters many, but to us there is but one Elohim, the Father, of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Master, Yahshua HaMashiach, by whom are all things, and we by him. So you see, Paul recognized, and our fathers that wrote the Bible recognized that the Gentiles were still worshiping gods of wood and stone, new gods coming up. Now, you look at today. Today, they still worship gods. The Christians still worship other gods and have idols of them. And one of them is on January the 1st, New Year's Day, they worship Janus, the god that looks into the past and to the future. On Valentine's Day, they worship Cupid. Halloween, they worship Satan. Thanksgiving is the worship of Ceres, the god of vegetation, and Christmas. They worship Santa Claus. Now, let's keep this in mind. You do understand what the word Christian means. Christmas, you understand what Christmas means. Christmas is the same as Christ's Mass. So in other words, Christ, JC, is a Roman Catholic because only the Roman Catholics have Mass. So when you celebrate Christmas, you become a Roman Catholic. I imagine that don't mean anything to colored people. Most of the children of Israel here in America do not know that they are the children of Israel. They do not know that they are Jews. Let's go back to Romans chapter 11, and we're going to see why. Romans chapter 11, verse 7 to verse 10. What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded, according as it is written, Elohim have given them the spirit of slumber, eye that they should not see, and ear that they should not hear unto this day. And David saith, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and bow down their back always. So look at what it says here. The reason why the children of Israel do not know that they are the children of Israel. They have been judicially blinded. And you can't show it to them in the Bible, because let's go to Isaiah 29 and read verse 9 through 12. Isaiah 29, verse 9 through verse 12. It says, stay yourselves and wonder, cry you out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. Well, what does that mean? Well, look what goes on in the black churches. They act like they've been drinking all day long and they're having a party. For Yahweh have poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep and have closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, have he covered, and the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And it says, I cannot, for it is sealed. We're talking about doctors of theology, PhDs in Christianity, pastors with a bunch of letters behind their names. Those are the ones that say that they're learned, but the Bible is still sealed. Verse 12, and the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And it says, I am not learned. That's why when you see Christians with a Bible in their hand, they don't know what that book is saying. But they got a Bible, and that's good enough for them. Let's go to Isaiah 6, verse 8 to verse 10. Again, we're looking at why the children of Israel do not know that they are the children of Israel. Isaiah 6, verse 8 to verse 10. Now, this is Isaiah talking, okay? Listen to this. Also I heard the voice of Yahweh saying, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then said I, here am I, send me. And he said, go and tell this people, hear you indeed, but understand not, and see you indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert, and be healed. So in other words, what he's saying is that when you read the Bible to Christians, they fall asleep. They can't listen to these words. Therefore, they do not know that they are the children of Israel. Let's go to Isaiah 42, verse 18 to verse 25. Isaiah 42, verse 18 to verse 25. Hear, you deaf, and look, you blind, that you may see. Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent? Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as Yahweh's servant? Seeing many things, but thou observest not, opening the ears, but he heareth not. Yahweh is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. They are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none says, restore. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who gave Yaakov for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not Yahweh he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of that battle, and have set him on fire round about, yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart. You see what happens when Yahweh's people don't keep Yahweh's law? Well, you have the prey of the people that hate you. You are the chosen people. The children of Israel are the chosen people and will always be the chosen people. We serve an eternal Elohim. He is forever. His words don't change. But Christianity has deceived Yahweh's people into believing that they should be Christians or they should be Muslims. Christians and Muslims are not the chosen people. The chosen people are still here. But the problem is we've been dropped through the holes of history, and nobody ever considers whatever happened to them. Well, guess what? They are speaking to you now. They're letting you know that Yahweh has visited his people here in America and waking them up and to let them know that we are his people and he is our Elohim. So we're turning away from the religions taught to us by white people and the religions taught to us by the Muslims and turning to what's written in the Bible. This Bible is very important to us. Our fathers wrote this Bible. The Christians translated it. That's all. They didn't write any word in this book. And people get upset. People don't want to read the Bible because they say, well, the white man wrote the Bible. No, he did not. If he did, then he should have another book after this book written the same way. But the Bible is very unique in the way it is written. No other book can compare to the Bible. Let's continue. Let's go to Exodus chapter 4, verse 10 and 11. To see why Yahweh's people do not know that they are Yahweh's people. Exodus chapter 4, verse 10 and verse 11. And Moshe said unto Yahweh, O my master, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue. And Yahweh said unto him, Who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb or deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I, Yahweh? That's why Yahweh's people don't know that they are Yahweh's people, because he's blinded them himself. Well, why would he blind his own people? Well, according to what's written here, Yahweh has mercy upon whom he will have mercy. So we didn't tell Yahweh to blind his own people. We were blind at one time. But Yahweh we found mercy in Yahweh's sight. So therefore, now we understand what the Bible is saying, and we cannot ever listen to a Christian talk about what's written in this Bible. I don't care if he's a theologian or has many letters behind his name. We still will never listen to a Christian pastor try to explain this Bible because they don't understand the Bible themselves. Let me stop here and invite you out to the Cultural Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel once again. We're located at 3901A Covenant Highway, Indicator, Georgia, 30032. Our phone number is 404-286-5869. The website is www.thencci.org. We have a prophecy class every first day of the week, which is Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. Come on out and see what the prophets say that are written about in the Bible, because they pertain to you, and believe it or not, it pertains to everybody on earth. Come on out and see what the Bible is saying. If you cannot join us, you can join us, and if you cannot join us in person, you can join us on Facebook and YouTube, and you can ask all the questions you want pertaining to what's written in the Bible. We also have a history class every third day of the week, which is come on out and see what the Bible says about you and where you come from and why you are here. If you cannot join us in person, you can join us on Facebook and on YouTube. You can ask all the questions you want pertaining to what's written in the Bible. We also have a sisters only class every fifth day of the week, which is Thursday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Come on out. No, don't come on out. Join the sisters on Zoom. And lastly, we have a Sabbath day service every seventh day of the week, which is Saturday at 1 o'clock. Come on out and join us and see what it is like to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Let's continue. None of the Jews, which is short for the tribe of Judah, ever worshiped the gods of the Greeks and the Romans. Our fathers didn't worship their gods. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 10, verse 19 to verse 21. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 19 to verse 21. Now see, what I'm reading here is very boring to the Christians. So I don't expect Christians to watch this program. But you people on Facebook and YouTube, I know that you are the Church of Israel and that you want to know what this Bible is saying, because you also have been deceived. So now you're actually hearing what's actually written. I'm not making any of these things up. What the Spirit's given me, I try to make it plain to you so you can see for yourself. You cannot dispute what you can see for yourself. And you can identify with what's written in the Bible now. This is 1 Corinthians 10, verse 19 to verse 21. What say I then? That the idol is anything, or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols is anything? But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to Elohim. I would not that you should have fellowship with devils. You cannot drink the cup of Yahweh and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of Yahweh's table and the table of devils. Well, guess what? Them idols that you see that the Christians walk around with, them crosses, those are idols. So Gentiles, you still worshiping idols. That means you still worshiping devils. And you black Christians, you go right along with them. Let's go to Galatians chapter 4, verse 8 and 9. See what I'm reading here? This is in the New Testament, right? You're not going to hear a Christian preacher speak from the New Testament. Galatians 4, verse 8 and 9. Howbeit then, when you knew not Elohim, you did service unto them which by nature are no gods. But now after that you have known Elohim, or rather are known of Elohim, how turn you again to the weak and beggarly elements whereunto you desire again to be in bondage? What he's talking about, why are you turning back to those gods that you used to worship? The gods of nature, the gods of vegetation, the god of the sun, the god of the moon, the god of all these things. Why are you returning back to that? Let's continue. Let's go to Psalm 115, verse 1 to verse 8. Psalm 115, verse 1 to verse 8. Again, we're talking about the idols that, for instance, the Greek and Romans, they worship idols. And Christians worship idols too, showing you that they are the offspring of the Greek and Roman polytheists. They worship many gods, so the Christians and the Christians today worship many gods also. This is Psalm 115, verse 1 to verse 8. Not unto us, O Yahweh, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory, for thy mercy and for thy truth's sake. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is now their God? But our Elohim is in the heavens, he hath done whatsoever he hath pleased. Their idols are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. They have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Neither speak they through their throat. They that make them are like unto them, so is everyone that trusteth in them. I have yet to see a black Jesus. I see black people worshiping the white man's God, but they don't worship a black Jesus. That's what you call indoctrination. But here recently, some of these big stores have started putting out a black Santa Claus. And just not any kind of black Santa Claus. I think it was a year or two ago, they had two Santa Claus, one white and one black. And the black Santa Claus was married to the white Santa Claus, and the black Santa Claus was a homosexual. This year, they got a black Santa Claus in a wheelchair. So they're being politically correct. They don't want to leave anybody out. So anybody in a wheelchair, you're represented by a black Santa Claus in a wheelchair. So first you got a Santa Claus couple, a black and a white Santa Claus that are married to each other. And of course, the black Santa Claus is the woman, and the white Santa Claus is the man. I find it interesting that they want to feminize black men. Don't you think that's kind of weird that television or the corporations want to feminize black men? Why? Because it's an effort to destroy black men. Let's go to Psalm 82, verse 1 to verse 8. Psalm 82, verse 1 to verse 8. Elohim standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, you are gods, and all of you are the children of the Most High. But you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O Elohim, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. Now, when he says that you are gods, who is he speaking about? He's speaking about the people that he made covenants with, the children of Israel. He did not make any covenants with anyone else on earth. If he did, please show it to me. But he's talking to the children of Israel because of his relationship with his people, Israel, here on earth. Let's see, let's prove that. Let's go to John chapter 10, verse 29 to verse 36. John chapter 10, verse 29 to verse 36. My Father, which gave them me, is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my hand, out of my Father's hand. Let me read that again. My Father, which gave them me, is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. Where'd you get the Trinity from? I and my Father are one. That doesn't mean that he's the same as the Father, because one is the Son and the other is the Father. How can they be the same? It means that he and the Father agree. Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him. Yahshua answered them, many good works have I showed you from my Father. For which of those works do you stone me? The Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, because that thou, being a man, maketh thyself Elohim. Yahshua answered them, is it not written in your law, I said, you are gods? If he called them gods unto whom the word of Elohim came, and the scripture cannot be broken, say you of him whom the Father hath sanctified and sent into the world, thou blasphemest, because I said, I am the Son of Elohim? So again, look at what he's saying here. He was quoting scripture to prove his doctrine. But they want to stone him because they did not understand what he was saying. Since the Christian translators decided to take Yahshua's Hebrew name out of the Bible and replace it with a Greek name, he is no longer king of the Jews. But JC is the God of the Christians, another Greek God. Now I challenge you. Go to your dictionary and look up the name Jesus. And you'll see that you'll see a GR right next to his name, which stands for Greek. So Jesus is a Greek God. Now, why would Yahweh give his only begotten Son a Greek name? Let's understand something. Let's go to Exodus. I'll wait on that. Let's continue. Again, remember the Romans and the Greeks worship their Roman and Greek gods. So Jesus is a Greek God. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 to verse 6. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 to verse 6. Remember now, the Greeks and the Romans worship many gods, and they made idols of them. And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh thy Elohim, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Who is he speaking to? The children of Israel. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them. For I, Yahweh thy Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. He said, you're not supposed to worship any make unto you any graven image. You're not supposed to worship them either. But that's what the Greeks and the Romans did all the time. And now in Christianity, they're still doing it today. All you got to do is visit the Vatican. You have statues of men and women all over the place. But they're breaking the law. As a matter of fact, you know what the Catholics did? They went into these 10 commandments and took this commandment out that said that prohibits you from making you graven images. They took it out. How is it possible that something that was written in stone by the finger of Elohim, the Catholic Church said, we're going to take that out. We're going to take that commandment out and split the 10th commandment and say, well, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, and in the 10th commandment, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house or property. See, you have to look at the people that, the Catholic Church that translated the Bible. They decided, well, we don't agree with Yahweh. We are idol worshipers. If we want to maintain our idol worship, we want to see our God, because our God looked just like us. That's what the Catholic Church said. And you got black Christians agreeing with it. Let's continue. Let's go to Exodus chapter 3, verse 13 to verse 15. Exodus chapter 3, verse 13 to verse 15. And Moshe said unto Elohim, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, the Elohim of your fathers have sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? Now let me read it the way the Bible has been translated. It says, and Moshe said unto God, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, the God of your fathers have sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? Well, that proved that God is not a name. Ask your average black Christian, what is God's name? They'll say God. But Moshe says, God, that the children of Israel is going to want to know, what is God's name? God is not a name. So when you're dealing with black Christians, you have to understand they're used to fairy tales and whatever people tell them, they believe it. In verse 14, and Elohim said unto Moshe, I am that I am. And he said, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am have sent me unto you. When he said, I am that I am, he's talking about Yahweh. When he said, I am, he's talking about Yah. All right, it's a shorter version of Yahweh. And Elohim said moreover unto Moshe, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, Yahweh Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob have sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. So that's his name forever, Yahweh. Not Jehovah, not Allah. His name is Yahweh. Let's continue. Exodus chapter 7, verse 14 to verse 17. Exodus chapter 7, verse 14 to verse make that Exodus chapter 7, verse 14 to verse 16. Exodus chapter 7, verse 14 to verse 16. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Pharaoh's heart is hardened. He refuses to let the people go. Get thee unto Pharaoh in the morning. Lo, he goeth out unto the water, and thou shalt stand by the river's brink against he come. And the rod which was turned to a serpent shalt thou take in thine hand, and thou shalt say unto him, the Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews hath sent me unto thee, saying, let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. And behold, hitherto you would not hear. Now why would the God of the Hebrews give his only begotten son a Greek name? The Hebrews had their own language. They had their own Hebrew names. And all of a sudden, his only begotten son has a Greek name now. What they're trying to do is separate you from the God of Israel. That's what that's all about. When you change someone's name, you change their ethnicity, you change their genealogy, you change their history, you change everything about it when you change someone's name. And that's what they did to our fathers when they brought them over here to America. They changed their names to reflect white people's names. And to this day, they have black people have family reunions in the name of their black slave masters. They don't realize it, because when we tell them we don't have family reunions with you because you do it on the Sabbath day. So they get upset with us. They're not really getting upset with us. They're getting upset with Yahweh, because he's the one that's calling us out from among white people, white Christians, Muslims. He's calling us away from them, and he's building a nation within a nation. So he's going to pull a nation out of America, a nation out of another nation, put them in their own land, just like he did here. In the book of Exodus, he brought the children of Israel out of Egypt. He brought a nation out of another nation. So he's building this nation up here in America to bring them up out of here, to return them back into their own land, because America was never our land in the first place. No matter what the black politicians, the black big thinkers say, the black preachers, this is not our land. Our father brought his slaves, and now black people don't know that this is not their land. No matter how many black people they put in prison, because they don't put that many white people in prison as they do with black people, considering the population. Because in America, they say that black people make up 13% of the people in America, but they commit 50% of the crime. And that's governmental statistics. Let's continue. Let's go to Isaiah 45, verse 5 to verse 7. Isaiah 45, verse 5 to verse 7. I am Yahweh, and there is none else. There is no God beside me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me, that thou may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am Yahweh, and there is none there. That means there is no Allah, and there is no JC. Now, Hare Krishna, none of those gods or nations is like ours. You can't put him with anyone else. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yahweh, do all these things. Now, look, this word evil is a translator's word. Yahweh does not create evil. He creates, you should take that word and compare it to words like calamity, adversity, and affliction. That is what that is reflecting. So there is no God but Yahweh. Now, if you're not worshiping Yahweh, who are you worshiping? Because you look at, for instance, what the world has been divided up into religious groups like Christians and Muslims and the little hat people. But where do we fit in all of that? We do not fit none of that, because JC looks like the people that created him. Well, where's your image at, black Christians? And why do you say God loves everybody? And that same God that you say loves everybody brought your forefathers here on slave ships. When did he start loving everybody? Was it in the last, 20 or 30 years ago? But he sure wasn't loving black people when they were lynching them and burning them alive. And they had property up in Cummins, Georgia, they got ran out of and killed. So how is it that God loves everybody and they shoot you down in the street like you're a dog? And by the way, do not harm these white people's dog because they value their dogs above you. You're lower than a dog. And the fact that they want to feminize black men, they make you lower than black women. So right now, black women about the same level as white women or more. White man still on top. Then you have black women and white women. Then you have dogs. And then you have homosexuals. And then you have dogs. Then you got the black man. How you like them apples? Let's go to one more place. Let's go to John chapter 5, verse 37. John chapter 5, verse 37. Let's look at what it says here. The Father himself, which hath sent me, have borne witness of me. You have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape. Wait a minute. I see a picture of JC everywhere. JC's image is all over the world except in the Muslim nations. He is all over the world. Go to Brazil. You got JC standing on a mountain with his hands stretched out. But you said, and Christians like to say, but God said this. God said that. How you know? What did he talk like? What did he say to you? What did his voice sound like? Because we know we got the image of JC, which reflects their forefathers, the Greeks and the Romans, worshiping images. So you got an image of JC all over the place in black people's houses and in black people's churches. There's one white person in the church, and that's JC. You should be ashamed of yourself. That you will go through hell and high water to worship the white man's God. Even though the white man has showed you that his God don't love you. He don't give you a break like he gives his own people a break. A white person and a black person commit the same crime, but the black person get the worst sentence for committing the crime, and the white person does not. But you worship the white man's God. You think that America is your land. Have you ever considered that this is not your land? That you have your own land? It's a long way from here. And you're not going to get there by walking. The same way you got here, the same way you got to leave, on ships. Look around you now. Look at what's going on in America. Do you not see that America is being destroyed by nefarious people that hate America? You got a president that Yahweh put in office. You didn't vote for him, black people, because now I hear black people say, we need Trump back. It's too late. They are never going to let him back in office. This president that y'all voted for said that he will never be president again. Now, why would he say something like that? He acts as if he knows he'll never get in office again. He knows this. How does he know? Because the only way you can stop Trump from coming in office is to kill him. But they're scared to do that. because that will set off a civil war. And they have to install martial law. All because you black people thought Trump was the devil. But again, Yahweh put Biden in office, not you. He sets kings up. He sets up the basis of men to be kings over the world. So again, I hope you understand what we're dealing with here. The idols, the gods of the Greeks and the Romans are still here, but they just have different names. I want to thank you for joining us. Please join us on the next Beyond the Surface program. Shabbat Shalom, and Yahweh bless you and keep you.